One of the most popular tourist attractions on Maui has always been the road to Hana. And after several miles of twists and turns, about halfway to Hana is the Garden of Eden, and always a good place to stop and stretch your legs. The Garden of Eden is open from 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. daily. You do not need a reservation. The cost is $20 per person, and I'd say it's definitely worth it. The Garden of Eden is the vision and creation of Alan Bradbury, Maui's first ISA certified arborist and lifelong landscape designer. Development of this rainforest property began in 1991 and opened to the public in 1996. In 1995, the park received recognition from the state of Hawaii for diligent conservation practices and proper land use and development techniques. They've never used pesticides and are almost entirely herbicide-free, the exception being for the control of highly invasive non-native species. The goal here is to help restore natural ecosystems and help promote Hawaii's native and indigenous species. Currently, there are over 700 botanically labeled specimens, some of which were donated by George Harrison of the Beatles. Harrison was a North Shore neighbor and a devoted plant enthusiast. Originally, this land was purchased with the intent of developing a recording studio retreat, a place where musicians could come and relax between recording sessions. It didn't take long to realize that the amount of salt in the air, along with the high humidity, would have detrimental effect on the recording equipment. Owner Bradbury already had a history of developing parks and recreational areas and noticed that every time the front gate was left open, curious tourists would drive in. It took nearly 10 years before any profit was actually realized. In the beginning, there were no roads, trails, buildings, exotic plantings, just dense, highly invasive jungle. You could not see the ocean or even walk without a machete to clear a trail. When you stop here, you'll need at least 30 minutes to explore around. It's a pretty easy walk, not too many real tough hiking areas, and we'd recommend probably at least 45 minutes to an hour and a half to see everything. After leaving the Garden of Eden, you'll go past Hana, and a few miles later, you'll run into Haleakala National Park. And that is where we are going to do our hike here. For the 7 sacred pools, we're going to take the Pipiwai Trail, which will go up towards the top of that photo, starting there at the bottom. There's another kind of shorter trail along the coast, and has some pretty cool views too, but we're gonna take the longer hike. It's just about 4 miles round trip, so a couple miles out and a couple miles back. You can see the initial vertical steps. I think it's something like 600 feet is how much you climb over the course of the hike, and most of that is in the first half of the hike on the way out. The Seven Sacred Pools is a name that a local resort hotel gave this hike to try to get more tourists to come. And basically it's just a name to kind of show off the beautiful area that wasn't getting as many tourists as they thought they should. So it basically goes to a bunch of different waterfalls and some incredibly beautiful, it's like Field of Dreams, scenic views throughout. So at the beginning of it, we're just kind of getting up to the vertical part so we can see some of the cool initial views. And then we get to the first waterfall, which was
no water in the falls here,
dry today. And so obviously we did this in October, so different times of the year, it's certainly flowing more than others, but it's certainly a very, very beautiful view even without the waterfall. This banyan tree is a very popular place to get some photographs. It looks like it's something out of Game of Thrones. Very cool to see it in its natural habitat along the trail.
one-lane road.
There's some nice walkways and bridges, and this one will give us some views to some more waterfalls. There are lots of bamboo trees on this hike, and probably some of the coolest parts of the hike are through the bamboo trees, and lots of signs like this as well. I guess there have been many deaths of people doing some cliff jumping and kind of jumping into the pools, so make sure you're careful if you ever do this. There will be signs to warn you for sure. I definitely have never been on a hike like this before. Just being surrounded by these incredibly tall and thin trees, and then the walkways through it were just awesome. I would say it's a moderate hike. Definitely some parts that were challenging if you're not in the best of shape, but lots of it was flat like this as well. And we have finally made it to our last waterfall. This is the end of the hike.
Heck of a waterfall. Wow, that's beautiful. Uncle Rocky, what did you think of the hike?
Unbelievable. 2 thumbs up. We're going through the bamboo forest. We saw the falls. Incredible. Lucky us.
You guys want to be on YouTube? You guys have a beautiful home here.
Say hi.